Hello, I'm Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and I proudly represent California's beautiful 13th Congressional District, which includes Oakland and Berkeley, California. I want to thank Shirley's Kitchen Cabinet for inviting me to speak with you today to celebrate and recognize the work of Black women who have paved the way for us today. Among the most influential of these women is my mentor and role model, the Honorable Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm. I first met Congresswoman Chisholm when I was a young single mother on public assistance and a student at Mills College in Oakland, California. I had an assignment in our government class to do field work on a presidential campaign, but the men in that presidential race didn't represent the issues important to me as a Black single mother. Issues like childcare, public education, universal health care, and ending poverty. I was fortunate enough to meet Congresswoman Chisholm and invited her to address the Black Student Union at Mills College as the first African American woman elected to Congress. I was president then of the BSU. Of course, I had no idea until she said it was during her speech that she was, in fact, running for president. I couldn't believe it. No one told me. Shirley was bold, she was courageous, and she was unbought and unbossed. As soon as she finished her speech, I rushed to her, told her about my assignment, and offered to do anything I could to help her in her campaign. I admitted to her that I was not registered to vote, and she looked at me with a look I will never forget and said, "You can't change the system if you're strictly on the outside looking in. You've got to get in there and help us change the system. You've got to register to vote." So I registered to vote, organized the Northern California campaign for my class at Mills College, got an A in the class, went to the convention in Miami as a Shirley Chisholm delegate, and yes, the rest is history. If not for the work and engagement of Black women across the country, we would not be where we are today, looking at the first Black woman vice president-elect in history, Senator Kamala Harris, who is a trailblazer in her own right, and yes, born in Oakland, California. She was the first Black senator from California. She is the first woman, the first African American, and the first South Asian American to hold the office of Attorney General in our state's history. Her victory means so much to women of color that came before her and the people that have been with her every step of the way. It shows that little girls can be just like her and serve at the highest level and do whatever they want to achieve in their lives. Representation matters, especially when it comes to fighting injustice and addressing systemic racism. I introduced legislation calling for the establishment of the first United States Commission on Racial Healing. Truth, Racial Healing and Transformation is what it's called, to examine the effects of slavery, institutional racism, and discrimination, and how this history impacts laws and policies today manifested in systemic racism. We must continue to stay engaged and continue electing representatives to our highest levels of government, at local levels, at state levels, that legislate through the lens of racial justice and recognize that Black lives do matter. You all have a great congressional representative in Congressman Emanuel Cleaver. I tell you, he's a good friend, he's a leader, he's a mentor. We must stay engaged at all levels, as well as to determine the future of our schools, our neighborhoods, and the health and well-being of our communities. Congressman Cleaver reminds us of this each and every single day. So I just want to take this time to join you in thanking Black women who have blazed the trail and who have helped drive our community to the polls. And let me thank Shirley's Kitchen Cabinet for having me be with you today and for continuing the legacy by creating, yes, catalysts for change in your own community. And yes, stay woke.